Welcome to Wanderlust Wishes, the podcast where we explore the world one destination at a time.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Krystle.
As travel agents with fantastical vacations, we are here to share our passion for travel and help you turn your wanderlust into reality.
From hidden gems to bucket list adventures, join us as we dive into the sights, sounds, and stories of our favorite destinations.
So grab your passport, pack your bags, and let's embark on this journey together. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 100, yay, of Wanderlust Wishes. We can't believe we made it.
Well, and technically we're like way past 100, but this is
official 100 episode. Yeah. Thanks for everyone that's come along with us on this journey. We truly appreciate it. Today, we're going to talk about the interactive wands at Universal Orlando because they're just such a fun added extra that can make your trip just a better experience. But first, just really quickly, we wanted to let everybody know that Disney World 2027 dates are available through October, so the end of October 2027. That's generally the way they always do it, is they release through October, and then later on they release the last 2 months for the holiday. And so we really think, because Krystle threw shade last week, Disney must have been listening, and they decided to release the dates this past week. And we are still waiting on Universal Orlando. We're hoping in the next few weeks, sometime in May, that those dates will be open as well. Yeah, it's exciting that we can now start booking 2027 trips. Okay, so let's jump into our topic. As I mentioned, I think this is one of those things at Universal Orlando as part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter that can really add to the experience of your trip. And if you've been there and you see it happening, but you don't really know what's going on because maybe you've just never been there before, maybe you're not a Harry Potter fan, maybe you just didn't know about it, but you see it and you don't really know what's going on or what people are doing. And they're waving wands at windows or pointing to rooftops or like whispering spells, that kind of thing. Sometimes things happen like they're supposed to, and sometimes they don't. Krystle and I actually saw in Diagon Alley, we saw a little boy that was doing a spell and it was not going well for him. And thankfully, a team member stepped up and helped him, and he was able to cast the spell, which was really fun to watch.
And this is not just for kids either. I think that's important to say up front. I've seen a lot of adults getting on at this, if not more, especially those of us who grew up with the books and the movies. And this is just one of those add-ons that really changes how you can experience all of the wizarding world. You're not just walking through and looking at things, you're actually a part of it. So today we're going to break down everything you need to know about the interactive wands, what they are, how they work, where to buy them, and honestly, whether they're worth the money. And then we'll also share some tips so you're not the person standing there doing the wand motion over and over, wondering why nothing is happening. This would be me. I think I have video of it somewhere. I just kept doing it, and the guy had to come over, and it was another adult. He just came over and he's like, "You need to do this." And it worked.
That's so funny. Yeah, all of us Harry Potter fans that read the books when they first came out, we're all grown up, so you'll definitely see some
grown up money. So
yeah, exactly. So there are definitely adults there that are dressed up and have the wands. Okay, so let's start out with, what are the wands? So the basics. Whenever Diagon Alley opened back in 2014, it really raised the bar for theme park immersion. Before that, Universal Orlando had already opened Hogsmeade, and you could buy a wand, but they were wand replicas, and that was just it. Like, they didn't have any interactive capability with them. They were phenomenal. I have multiple of them. I love Professor McGonagall, so that was the first one that I bought. But they didn't do anything. They were just wands. So with Diagon Alley, they introduced the interactive wands, and that's when things really changed. And now, instead of just holding the wand, you can actually use it to trigger spellcasting effects throughout Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
And these aren't just any random effects. They're actually built into the environment in a way that makes it feel really intentional. So you'll see windows come to life, objects move, lights flicker, water spray. It's all designed to make you feel like you're actually casting spells. And the experience spans multiple areas now, not just in Diagon Alley, but also Hogsmeade and at Epic in the newer Ministry of Magic area. So it's not a one and done thing. You can use your wand across multiple parks and multiple days.
Let's talk about the different types of wands, just to clarify that. So you have your three main categories when you're going in to purchase a wand or when you're shopping for a wand. You still have the original non-interactive wands. These are going to be the least expensive, and they're basically just display pieces, or, if you want to like carry it around, it just doesn't interact with anything. If you're someone that wants to collect them based on your favorite characters, this is definitely something that you can purchase for that purpose. But then you go into the standard interactive wands, and those are the ones that have the special tip that interacts with the spell locations throughout the parks. They look basically the same as the originals. They're a little bit thicker, and they have a translucent tip on the end. So you can tell the difference when you're looking at them.
Now we have newer second generation interactive wands, which take it a little bit further. They have light up effects, haptics like the vibration feedback, and they connect to the universal app. So it's not just about casting spells anymore. It's more like a full interactive game layered over your park experience. And I feel like they're just keep competing with their friends down the road with our little wristbands. I do think it's worth mentioning if you're someone who likes gamification, tracking progress, or having a more structured experience, the newer wand is going to appeal to you a lot more. And I'm sure since this is such new technology for them, they're going to keep adding more and more to the older sections with the new wands.
Okay, so where do you find a wand? Because that in itself is also part of the experience. The most iconic place to purchase a wand is at Ollivander's wand shop. And this is where you can watch the wand choose the wizard. And if you're a Harry Potter fan, you know why that's so iconic. It's the place to get your wand. If you've never done that before, it's a really cool little experience. They bring a small group in, they interact with a group. One person gets chosen for this really special moment. And if you have kids, this can be the highlight of their trip if they happen to be the one that gets chosen for the wand to choose them.
Have you ever been chosen, or have your girls?
No, it's very sad. I've not been chosen. I also bought my wand way back before they had any of the new things. We have Professor McGonagall. We have Hermione. Cannot remember which one Lena has. I think we actually have two Hermione because we have a regular Hermione, one of the original, and then we have the initial interactive level. We don't have any of the newer interactive wands yet.
So Ollivanders is not your only option. You can also buy wands in other shops throughout the parks at City Walk ahead of time, or they do have a couple at the airport, which is random, but if you want to stop by and get one, and this would be fun for like a Christmas gift, I feel like, to like have one ready and say, hey, we're going to go to Universal, but then it takes away from the whole experience at Ollivanders. So anyway, if you don't want to wait for the experience, you don't have to, but like we said, it's the funnest way to do it. So especially if it's a first trip, you have young kids, you're a big Potterhead, Ollivanders, at least once you need to do it. It just adds to the magic. Literally.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think that it would be really fun to, if you're surprising the kids with the trip, to have the wand as a gift. I think that would be great. I wouldn't mind getting a gift of a wand and surprising me with the trip to Universal, in case anyone's wondering.
Rob?
Okay, so let's talk about the cost. So your non-interactive wands, they're usually around $55. They range in cost, I think, based on the character and the popularity, I think sometimes. So but in general, that's how much they're going to be in that range. The original interactive wands are around $63 in that range. And then the newer generation is closer to $85. In my opinion, if you really want to really like up the experience, I don't think it's that huge of a cost difference to have the interactive wand. It's not like it's double or 150% more or something like that. You know, it's not that much more expensive to get the newest one. And it's something that you can use throughout your trip, the entire trip across all the different parks. And you can use it for multiple trips. It's not just valid for one trip. It's going to work. They're probably, like Krystle said, they're probably going to continue to come out with newer technology, but you can always use that wand when you come back.
That's something that makes it a little bit different than just like a one-time ride upgrade. This is more of an experience that just keeps going. So if your kids or you are into it, you can easily take a big chunk of your day in a really fun way to experience all of it. It's also a great souvenir. I love souvenirs. So
yeah, I mean, I have my wand out in my room because I'm a nerd. So
this is like a bit of a side tangent, but have you seen people who 3D print like the little wands to fit like their credit card, and they'll go tap them for the tap to pay?
Yes.
I feel like someone needs to do this, like take the little chip out of your credit card and use this like going around with their wand at Universal to pay. Can you imagine like how funny that would be? Or
they could Universal could do how Disney links your card up if you have a card linked in your app, like they do with a Magic Band, you know? Is that what you mean?
So we have some ideas.
Yeah. I think that would be fun to be able to like tap it and pay. It would be funny. Okay. So we're getting to the nitty gritty of how the spell casting works. And this obviously can make or break the experience. If you can't get it to work, it can be very frustrating, especially, well, I was going to say especially for kids, but I think just as an adult, it's frustrating too.
Just raising my hand over here.
As Krystle mentioned, when you can't figure out how to do it and you don't know what you're doing wrong. So each spell location, you're going to see a medallion on the ground that tells you exactly where to stand. So that's going to be kind of your first clue as to where a spell casting location is if you haven't looked out on the map or whatever, because you do get a map with your wand. So if you don't know exactly where you just come across it, you know that that's a spot where you can cast a spell. But it tells you where to stand, what directions to face, and what motion to make. And the direction that you're facing is extremely important.
So I'm going to pull back the curtain here for just a second. If you have kids, maybe skip this part for a second. But the wand is interacting with little hidden infrared cameras. So if you're not pointing in the right spot, it's just not going to work. So a lot of people don't realize that and they assume their wand is broken. Another big tip is your movement. This is not a big dramatic arm motion. It's like a small controlled wrist movement. So the more subtle you are, the better it usually works.
If you guys know the spell from the very first movie, and Hermione, she says swish and flick. So it's not a big motion, it's a small motion. You also technically don't have to say the spell out loud because it's all motion based, but in my opinion, like what's the point if you're not going to say it out loud? Like that's the whole part of it, is saying it out loud. If you're swishing and flicking and not saying Wingardium Leviosa with it, like that's just, I don't know. I just think that's weird. So you have to fully commit. And you're in Universal Orlando, in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. No one is judging you. For the most part, like I think everybody's going to probably, if they don't just like walk by because they're focused on their own thing, they're going to want to stop and watch because they think it's fun. I mean, just like Krystle and I did when we stopped and watched the little boy. Like I was interested. I wanted to see it work. So I don't think that you should have to worry. Don't worry about any of that. Have fun. Live your life.
So now let's talk strategy and where to start. Not all spell locations are created equal. And this is something a lot of people also don't realize. If you start in Hogsmeade, chances are you might get a little bit frustrated pretty quickly. The spells there tend to be a bit harder. There are tighter spaces, and there's more foot traffic cutting through and around you.
And Diagon Alley, if you remember from like what we just talked about, Diagon Alley is where the interactive wands started. So that's really a good place to start. They have more locations in general, and they started the technology there. So the spells that tend to be a little bit easier. And then also the Ministry of Magic, because I think they probably learned from when they created spaces in Hogsmeade, like after the fact, like after you have the new technology. It's always hard when you create a new technology and it's integrated into something you're building, but then it's hard to integrate into something that's already built that wasn't built for that technology. So that's one of the other reasons I think Hogsmeade is a little bit more difficult. But Ministry of Magic, it was also built with this technology in mind, and also the second generation version. So this tends to be both of those locations, Diagon Alley and Ministry of Magic, tend to be easier, just a little bit more intuitive. There's also team members nearby that can help if you're struggling. Once you get the hang of it in those two areas, then you can go over to Hogsmeade and try to tackle some of those.
I'm making this my excuse because I was trying in Hogsmeade.
A couple of things that will make your life a lot easier. As I mentioned earlier, you get a map with your wand. Keep your map. It's important. It's not something that you just like throw in the bag or throw away. Do not do that, because that helps you find where things are and it has information in it. There's the medallion that kind of tells you that there's a spot, but you might miss it in certain spaces if you're not looking. And a lot of times, because they're not super obvious, there's not as much of a wait if there happens to be a wait of people trying to do the spell. And so having your map helps a lot.
Also, look for the little red light. If you see the little infrared dot, you're in the right place. And don't be afraid to try again. Some spells just take practice. 5 or 6 times. And if something isn't working, it might actually be temporarily jinxed, which is Universal's fun way of saying it's down. Just move on and come back later, or ask an actual Potterhead behind you to help you.
Somebody that's already done it before might be able to get it to work.
I need to find the video and post it on Instagram this week because it was hilarious. I was struggling hardcore.
And another underrated tip, if you have younger kids, you might want to stand kind of slightly off to the side to help block the space where the spell casting space is, because people don't realize it, but they're walking through the spell area. And because it's a motion sensor with the infrared light, if somebody walks through it or it's like standing in front of it, then obviously the spell is not going to work. So if you're able to kind of help cut people off a little bit from cutting through, that'll help with kiddos and maybe adults too.
So now let's talk about the newest layer to all of this, and that is the app integration with the second generation wands. And this is where it starts to feel more like a game. You can create a wizard profile, choose your house, track your spells, and even earn points. So we're not talking about it right now, but you can also do something similar in the Mario section of Epic. So the app is becoming more and more important, as much as I hate their app.
Well, I think they realize people don't like the app because it doesn't work very well. And so I think they're trying to make improvements.
So they've got all the gamification. So there's also a house cup element, so you can actually compete and see how you rank compared to other guests. And the app can guide you through different adventures, which gives the experience a little more structure. So you're not just kind of dilly-dallying, like you actually have a plan. So if you're someone who likes checking things off of a list or having a goal while you explore, this adds a whole extra layer to the experience, makes it even more fun.
Yeah, and if you're competitive and you want to like beat other wizards, I think this would be amazing. I'm game for this. I need to get Lindsay, our friend Lindsay, because we're both like super competitive. We need to go around and use our wands and try to beat all the rest of the wizards. that are in the area.
Could you imagine if we did that as just like an entire agency and like we all just turned loose and figured out?
Yeah, that would be funny if we all had wizarding profiles and we all tried to like beat each other. Actually, that's a really good idea. That would be really fun. I think it would be. It'd be almost like a crazy wizarding scavenger hunt. Okay, so like we mentioned, you do have a map that helps you find the spells, but we're going to go through some of the spots where you can find the spells. In Diagon Alley, and this is where you find the most of them. I believe I'm saying this correctly. I think I know most of them, but I could completely mess some of these up. So don't like come at me, Potterheads. So at Pillywinkle's Playthings, Tarantalegra is the spell. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. At Horizon Alley, Metallojinx. At Flim Flam's Lanterns, Incendio. Magical Menagerie, Silencio. Scribulous Writing Implements, and also at Wiseacre Wizarding Equipment. The Daily Prophet, there's a spell where you can move the headline board. And then there's several in Nocturne Alley. And this is where you really probably need to have your map because they're kind of hidden on purpose because of Nocturne Alley. It's supposed to be a little sketchy. And there's darker magic effects in that space. So moving into Hogsmeade, there's also some confirmed spell spots. Honeydukes, Zonko's Joke Shop, Dervish and Bangs, the Owl Post and the Owlery area, Gladreg's Wizard Wear, and then Spent Witch's Sporting Needs. And then in the new area, and I'm going to try not to completely butcher the French pronunciations of these areas because it's in the Paris area of the Ministry of Magic, Space, and Epic. Les Bijoux de Jacqueline, Lumos, Monsieur Sanfines, Incendio. I'm going to just say the first part of this one because I'm totally going to butcher the other part of it. The third spot is Les Lumières, and it's Titilando. And then there's also additional spell windows and interactive points throughout Place Cache. So, to wrap it all up, is it worth it to do this? If you have anyone in your family that is a Harry Potter fan, or even if you just have kids that like interactive experiences and like gaming, then yes, very clearly this is worth it. This is an extra experience that you can have that's worth it to purchase them.
For adults, I would say it really would depend on your travel style. If you're more ride focused and trying to hit everything quickly, you might not use it enough to justify the cost. But if you like exploring, taking your time, and really soaking in the details, this is one of the best ways to do that, especially if you grew up with any of the Harry Potter things.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if you're there, a lot of Harry Potter fans go to Universal Orlando specifically for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter sections of the parks. Yes, they want to ride roller coasters or do some of the other attractions, but the key reason they are there is because of the Harry Potter piece. So it is truly one of the few extras that genuinely adds to your experience and makes the Wizarding World of Harry Potter feel different. You're not just observing, you're actually participating. And all of the areas are so immersive and so well put together that having this is just kind of icing on the cake.
And I would say that there's nothing really, like no other way to get around it than with the wand. Like magic bands we mentioned, you can get around it with Magic Mobile or with your phone.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You have to have the wand.
Yeah. The interactive wand. Yeah, for sure.
I don't love my magic band. We will definitely have wands. I am not a Potterhead. You guys know this, but it's worth it.
Agree.
So the next time you are at Universal and you see someone confidently casting spells and everything is working perfectly, just know they probably practiced a little.
If you are planning a Universal trip and you want help deciding on these types of extras or building in time to really enjoy it, As Krystle mentioned, there's also interactive components to the Super Nintendo area of the park that you can enjoy.
That's exactly what we're here for. Reach out and we'll help you plan it. We love to chat about all this.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. I love talking about Harry Potter, so I love this stuff. And we love talking about all the fun things that you can do and add to your trip. Universal Orlando has for sure grown immensely in the last year with Epic Universe. Thank you so much for listening. If you have 30 extra seconds, we would love for you to leave us a review. We truly appreciate it. Appreciate your time. We hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will chat with you all next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Wanderlust and Wishes.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform.
And remember, the world is full of wonders waiting to be explored. Until next time, happy travels.
Bye for now.